What's up, comic and pop culture fans? This is James with Mint Hunter Comics, and I wanted to share some great news that happened this weekend. Maybe some of you might have saw, but something very negative happened a couple weeks ago in which someone stole comics right out of my car, front passenger seat and all. I will say, while that was a bad thing, I've been kind of waiting for the good thing to come around, and I think this is it. So just a little positive story I thought I'd share with you folks today. I just got back from a family vacation. When we got back, it was a Saturday, but I was just so exhausted, so the only mint hunting I got to do this weekend was Sunday. And it didn't seem like I was going to be really getting anything. I was going from place to place, just not having any luck at all. I actually went to a few flea markets. Yes, multiple flea markets. Two of them I had never even been to before, and I was certainly doing my fair share of striking out. I also went to a couple yard sales that I got tips on. Pro tip for hunting in the wild: make sure everyone in your church, in your friend group, in your family inner circle knows that you collect comic books, because what I do is I let everybody know that I collect comic books, and usually throughout the week, usually right before the weekend, I get messages from friends, cousins, this and that, just telling me, hey, I saw a yard sale's going to be here, you might want to check it out. Anyway, so I exhausted all those options. The only thing I did get is a very small stack of probably books worth around $5 at tops from the last flea market. Now, this last flea market was so far up north that I was basically in like Hoboken. I was pretty close to New York City, which is about an hour and 20-minute drive back from me. So I completely wasted all the battery from my phone in going to these yard sales and flea markets, but also using the GPS. So I find myself in upper New Jersey, completely without any GPS or phone. I think whatever was here probably got nabbed up pretty quick. At this point, I'm done. I'm calling it. I'm going home. So I hit up a McDonald's, and on the way out of the McDonald's, I run into a sign that says yard sale. Now, a lot of you that do comic book hunting probably know, A, Saturday is the better day, usually not Sunday, and B, if it's after 12, chances are yard sales are either done and put away, or anything that might have been comics probably have been scoured and found by other comic hunters. A lot of times I arrive at yard sales maybe 9, maybe even 8:30, and apparently I had just missed something awesome. Just missed it again. Apparently they had a bunch of old Superman and Superboys. That would have been interesting. Anyway, I saw the sign for the yard sale, and I was like, you know what? I pretty much rolled zero. I probably paid $30 in gas just doing this. So let's give it a shot. So I followed the sign, found the house. The dude was still outside, but I always ask, hey, do you have any comics? And he said, yeah, I do. Come on inside. And I was like, here we go. This dude's collection was nuts. Such an impressive Marvel collection. The only problem is he wasn't selling a pinch of it. He had Amazing Spider-Man 3, he had Werewolf by Night, the first appearance of Luke Cage, Tomb of Dracula #1, the first and second appearance of Ghost Rider, first appearance of Daredevil, Green Goblin. He had a Hulk 180, he had a Hulk 181, he had giant-size X-Men in pretty nice shape too. And I'll be honest, guys, it definitely killed me that my phone was out of battery. But again, like I said, he wasn't selling any of it. I was like, this is awesome, man, you know. Why don't I get your number? If you're ever interested in selling stuff, give me a call. Maybe I could be the first person you go to. I can't promise you I'm going to be able to afford even a fraction of it, but hey, you know, you made a contact. So then he says he's actually trying to get into pressing and cleaning of these books in order to get some of them graded. And I was like, yeah, that's a great idea. You've definitely got the books for it, man. So I tell him about like how much stuff costs and, you know, how much it costs to go with either CGC, EGS, CBCS, all that spiel. And he's like, yeah, this all sounds great. I have no experience with that, and could you recommend a third-party presser? I know a lot of great third-party pressers. I actually do press and clean books on my own, just not that often. And he says, would you be able to press a certain amount of books? If you'd be down, I could either pay you in comics or money. And I was like, sounds great, man. So he told me, I still can't sell you any of my Marvels. He's like, I have this stack of DC books. So you know me, I'm like, oh, dude, I love DC. Let's see them. He shows me 2 long boxes of DC keys. All keys, no filler, just nothing but net. Most of them were like mid-level and smaller keys, but still pretty darn awesome. He had inherited this collection from a buddy of his that died. Now, the DC books that he inherited, I think were a little more noticeably, a little more read, a little bit more loved than his Marvel collection, but regardless, I mean, some of those were great books. He proposed an agreement. If I clean and press about 20 of his best books and also help him with the process of sending it off to one of the grading companies, he will give me 5 DC books of my choosing. So he says, all right, let's arrange a meet. And I said, yeah, I'm free next weekend. You know, why don't we meet maybe somewhere halfway? So I wasn't expecting to actually get those books until next week. I was going to clean and press his books and then get my 5 free. Well, he just right then and there said, why don't you grab 5 right now? This guy was really cool, and I built the trust with him on the spot, so he let me take the 5 books this week. We've been on the phone a couple times this week, and I made a total new friend out of that, which right there is just a gorgeous thing. So why don't I show you the keys that I got? They are all from the DC Showcase line. He did have some later showcases that hadn't been picked over, and I got some nice small and medium keys here. You've probably been noticing this first appearance of the Creeper I've got right here. Ironically, I just got that book 2 or 3 weeks ago. It was pretty good shape. This one does beat it for sure though. Almost makes me want to submit it. Although I think the circumstances surrounding this, how these were given as a gift to me, and the fact that these were from his buddy that died, I kind of just want to keep it as is, maybe not get it graded, just kind of keep it raw. I could sway on that, but I've really been enjoying collecting raw for the time being, especially with some weirdness going on with the grading companies, so probably just keep them raw, although a couple in here really are going to make me want to maybe not do that. Next up, I'll save that one for last because I think it's the best condition. All right, so this one is Showcase 55. It's the first Silver Age appearance of Solomon Grundy. That's a really nice book, and it's right around the same condition of the one that I already have, but I will take a duplicate of that any day. That is a horribly underrated book. Actually, most of the Showcase DC books are very underrated. Some of them actually made it into my DC underrated video that I made about a month ago. Next up, we have 56. This is the first appearance of the Silver Age, but also completely separate character, Dr. Psycho, than the one that we know. My copy is pretty nice here. This is not as nice, actually, as the one I already owned. And some of you I know are going to ask, hey, James, do you want to sell that one? Nah, I'm going to keep it. Books like these are so rarely found, especially found in the wild, that I think I'm going to hold on to it. It's a really nice one to have. This one's probably only like a 6.0, which is still a very respectable grade for anything from the 60s, as many of you know. Another one, this one's issue number 60, first Silver Age appearance of Spectre, but it's also the first appearance of Asmodeus, which is one of Spectre's biggest villains. This was my #1 spot for underrated DC keys. This one's a little less nice than the one I have. Again, this one's probably a 6.0, where the one that I previously owned is more like a 7, maybe a 7.5. I'm not going to be selling that. I think I'm going to respect the circumstances in which it came to me, and I'm going to keep that one. Last but not least, this is a book I've actually never owned before. Issue 75, the first appearance of Hawk and Dove. When I made my underrated DC video, someone put in the comments talking about, how did you miss Showcase 75? That's got to be DC's all-time most underrated book. And I don't think that that person is wrong. I did think that the Spectre book might have been more underrated. But as I'm looking over the price data for this book, I'm definitely thinking, yeah, wow, that's underrated for sure. Underrated, undervalued. That's a big key, nice cover. And this is, I'll have to zoom in on this one and really show you. This book is sharp, guys. Really nice. This thing is clean. This and the first appearance of Creeper are the only ones where I would maybe toy with the idea of doing some submitting, but I think I'm just going to enjoy them raw. So, my friends, ironically, a couple weeks ago I had $400 stolen from me right out of my car, And I'm pretty sure this is worth like at least 400 that I just got back just for doing a service for this guy of the cleaning and pressing of his books, which I'll also be able to make a video out of that in the next upcoming few weeks. All in all, I got some great books, made a great new friend, and I'm just very thankful. Additionally, I'll say that I've been super humbled and grateful for all the support from that video of the carjacking. You guys really are the best community, and I appreciate it more than I can even put into words. Comic karma is real. Keep on hunting.